Hello, dear listeners and viewers. On today's episode, my guest is Efthymios Stavropoulos, musician, composer, photographer, videographer, boxing enthusiast, and he recently also became a dad. He, to me, was a huge inspiration that sports became such an important element of my life. During our conversation, we'll discuss the importance of doing sports and the impact it has on our lives. More attention will be given to boxing since it's a sport we both really enjoy. He will share his way of scheduling, which is interesting because it involves scheduling your free time first. We will discuss setting your priorities, time prediction. He will share his insights on being a father. And we will even briefly discuss AI and the impact it has on art. I hope that you will have fun and that you get inspired by the topics that we discuss. Welcome to the Sound Mind podcast, where I invite interesting guests from the music field and discuss with them topics such as musical and personal growth, pursuing excellence and self-talk, body and mind maintenance, practice and work routines, music business, and more. I'm your host, Michael Krustel, and welcome to the Sound Mind podcast. Hello, dear Efthymios. So happy that I have you here on this podcast. And thanks for responding.
Hello, Michael. Thank you for inviting me. I'm also very happy to be here.
Yeah, I have so many questions. I'm just gonna frame a little bit you. So you are a composer, you're a videographer, you are a photographer. Uh, I just thought five minutes ago I realized that you did three of my music videos actually. So
Yeah.
that's also the deepest collaboration I ever did with any videographer out there. Um, and you're also such a huge, to me, you're such a huge inspiration when it comes to doing sports. And I think us hanging out had a huge impact on me that became a really solid and very important part of my life. So I really want to thank you for that. And I always see you as this, just force of nature, doing so many things. You also recently even got a kid and just doing everything what you do on such a high level is just so inspiring, man. So yeah, thanks for being around.
Thank you. Thank you for being around too. I appreciate your words a lot.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna already start with the thing, like, once you told me, if I remember correctly, that I'm also like into scheduling stuff and your way of scheduling was to me very interesting because you told me that you actually schedule your free time first. Is that
Yes.
true? Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about the method of how you schedule your stuff?
Yes. So first of all, it has to be clear that for the listeners now that this is a long-term process. It's not something that you can find uh, just by once trying out and then that's it. It takes time. It's a trial and error way of approaching it. And yes, indeed, for me, it's important to first choose my free time. And free time includes also leisure time, having fun time, going for a walk time. Free time is not necessarily doing nothing, is doing the things that actually you enjoy and they keep you away from thinking your job or calculations or whatever is tiring in a daily manner. And um, it's a matter of trying out on a paper, making a calendar like we used to do it as kids. We had to stick it on the fridge. I don't know if you remember that, but yes, you take a paper and you select in the days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. Which hours would you like to have as free, and which hours you would like to have for training, and which hours would you like to have for going for a walk with your partner. So once you decide that, then you see that there are hours around that that are available for everything else, and slowly, block by block, you build a weekly schedule that can work or not. But in order to find this out, you have to try it for a few weeks at least. It's almost impossible that it will work directly. For me, it took years to to make it work. So I
What was
guess
your biggest challenge doing it, like making it?
the biggest challenge is when because of being a freelancer, you have to work on projects that you cannot, of course, control the time of. So you are being invited to work with someone exactly on top of your free time. And then this is the challenge. So you have to decide whether or not you will respect your schedule or not. And respecting means you still have your free time, and not respecting means you say yes to the job opportunity. There is also a middle solution, which is you make clear to the person that you will work with that this is your free time and this is your important time, and you ask for a possibility of finding an alternative time. So that's what I mostly try to do.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, if they say no, this is the only time that we have, blah blah blah, then you decide how important this job is for you. Is it more important than your personal health, than your personal calmness, than your personal freedom? So is it? It's a long term process. So losing one time your free time will not affect, of course, your personal life, but also losing one job will not affect your income. So it's a matter of every time deciding, putting the priority.
Wow. And how, so from what I heard, I suspect if there's no alternative time, you would probably say no.
It depends on, of course, how satisfying this job is for me. There are always three aspects of deciding for me the yes or the no regarding a job. I don't know. Shall we go to this topic
Yeah,
right
please,
away?
please go.
So when you work with a project on a project with someone, you have to consider three things, in my opinion. The money is one of them, how well it pays, of course. The fun, how much fun you will have doing it. Is it something that you really like, that you will be having fun while working on? And the third one is the publicity. So how much after you finish this work, let's say, this job will bring you other works, other jobs. So there are these three aspects, and in my case, two of them should always be satisfied.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I have to calculate that every time.
Yeah. And I have to ask you because to me that is the most challenging. Like, is in the schedule to predict the amount of time that something will take. Like, how do you have any tip on how to clearly and realistically, uh, uh, how should I say, not decide on time, but yeah, predict time that will
Regarding
be spent
working,
that will be spent regarding work, but also free time.
free time,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
So I don't think there is a recipe to that. I think it's just a matter of trial and error, as I said before. Um, but you can, for example, test or you can check when you are hanging out with your friends, with a friend or with your girlfriend or whatever. You
Mhm.
can check how much time did you spend and you felt that that was enough for you. When you start thinking about working again, means that your free time is kind of over. So if you're in a park and after 1 hour you start thinking, oh yeah, in this project I have to record this. This means your free time is actually over. So how much time was that? Was it 1 hour? Was it 5 hours? Was it 3 hours? Maybe this is a good way to start. Yes. If it
Yeah.
is 1 hour, then select 1 hour and put it every day. At least you need 1 hour of free time.
Hmm. At least with my partner, I have this. It's not really a problem, but like things sometimes come up during when you're having this free time together during work days, right?
Yeah,
And sometimes to me that's really, how should I say, uh very tricky, because I'm thinking then on one hand, maybe I should then avoid this conversation or even avoid the interaction completely, just to get on with the day. But yeah, so do you have maybe something to
it,
say on that?
it can even be sometimes disrespectful for the others if you start ignoring them, right? Um, um, it's very tricky indeed. I find myself thinking my work very, yeah, very occasionally, and I think the solution is to be transparent about it, to make it clear that, you know what, I'm stressed or I'm concerned about this project because I have to do this and this and this. So right now I'm thinking about it and I cannot take it out of my mind. So can I please go and work on it? I think this is the most honest way to approach it.
Yeah.
And if you cannot do that, then you should be more clear with how much time you want to spend with the person or not, I guess. But being transparent is very much okay, I would say.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
shows some weakness, which is good, and yeah, you can still work on your thing afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so the flexibility of, as you said, like the time runs out on its own, kind of, right? Because you're then not, at least it happens to me also the same. I'm just then not present, and then I say, this is really, I mean, we can be here, but I'm really not
Yeah,
not here, right?
yeah, exactly. The problem is when you promise that you will spend 5 hours and you cannot even spend one. For me, this is when the problem occurs. So in this case, you have to apologize as well.
Yeah. Saying sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a great, those are some great insights. And do you count sports also as leisure time, or is that
I think I do. Yes, it's my. I think I mentioned this to you before. It's my mini holidays. I call it holidays. Um, I I find this approach of having regular daily dosage of holidays more effective than having holidays concentrated into 2 or 3 weeks every a few months. So yes, I find it more effective, and I consider it holiday.
oh man, weird. I have exactly the same point of view on on that one.
It's like drinking water once every day or drinking water 30 times a day, but less. It's kind of the same.
Mm. And I also think, like, my need to get out and to unwind, if you would say so, becomes really tiny or not even existent if my, how should I say, maintenance needs are in order, like you said, like that the gym is nearby, that I figure out where I'm gonna go, I don't know, hit the heavy bag, or mountain hiking, whatever. If that stuff is met, I'm really happy here. I
Yeah,
don't actually need to go anywhere, unless there's something to work on.
yeah,
um
yeah.
yeah. And was I want to ask you a little bit about sports now.
Okay.
um so was sports always in your life? I remember that you were doing, that you told me once that you were also doing football, when that you were training football, right?
Yeah, I remember myself into sports since very young. My parents, yeah, took the initiative to bring me to different, clubs for doing sports since I remember myself. I actually know that my mom has been telling me that I was always a very very active and very sportive kid. I was always the guy who was running, who was inviting people to have races as a kid, who was constantly playing with with football uh, or with a basketball, like banging it, hitting on the walls. Very very active. Probably hard for my parents.
Hyperactive is called.
Hyperactive, yes. I still kind of am hyperactive, I would say. Yes, so I tried football, I tried basketball, I did tennis for 6 years. I tried swimming. I did um, I did table tennis. Um, I did running, like 100 meters sprint. I did what else did I do? Volleyball. I did. I think this is all. Yeah, I was always part of some type of sport, and it was always for me important. I would say. Yeah. If I wouldn't become a musician, I think I would become a sports person. This was the alternative option.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you then end up with boxing?
So the boxing was a result. It was a mix of reasons. It was 2015, I think, when I started. I had some numbness on my forearms. Do you remember that? Because I was wearing some braces.
Right.
I was. It was back then when I was studying for the bachelor's in the composition department, and I was spending a lot of time on my desk
Mm.
with putting my forearms on the desk, also like this kind of posture.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one morning I woke up and I was numb. These fingers and these fingers were completely numb, and I freaked out and I called my parents and I said, "This is happening to me. It's crazy. What shall I do?" Anyways, there was a period of 2 months I was trying to figure out why this is happening to me. And it was my teacher, my composition teacher, Paul, who who told me, I'm boxing a few times a week. You should come and try it. And I didn't like the idea at all. Like boxing, me boxing, no, it's not for me. So I tried it once and I didn't like it. And then 6 months later, I tried it again. It was in a group setting with people from Codarts, from our conservatory, and I don't know why, but this time I liked it more. In combination with the disappointment that I had with my relationship back then, I was recently broken up, and in combination with I don't know, trying to recover from 4 years of inactivity in a way,
Mm.
it worked. And it became a new daily, or at least once every 2 days, passion. I was like a maniac going there. I was trying to understand how things work. Uh, it was a lot about body and eye coordination, like understanding the space around you and trying to understand how hands and feet work together or not together, because it can be also independent. And it really challenged me. So I found it very, very interesting. It's also like a game in a way.
Mm.
You have to touch but not be touched. So it's challenging and it's very, very interesting.
Yeah. And you also had a fight Like you even were preparing
This was
for
many years
for
later.
a
Yeah,
fight. Yeah.
it was I think five years later. I was already, more advanced. I had a lot of experience with sparring, and
Mm.
I decided to go for a fight. I I was completely unprepared for the fight setting. I didn't know what to expect. I was just going for a fight that I didn't know what it is.
Mm.
It was 3 rounds. I lost in the fight, and it was a great experience. I
Mm.
learned the most I have possibly learned through these years in boxing. It was during this fight.
Wow.
Yeah, it
Because
was.
was it because everything moves so fast, or how?
So
Like.
there was a crowd of, I don't know, 100 people shouting and talking, and there was a super bright light on top of the ring. There was a referee inside that I had never experienced. So a third person moving around you all the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow he takes also your attention.
Wow.
And he was telling me stuff. Don't put your head so low. Blah 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 blah. I don't even remember anymore what he was telling me, but I was so lost. I felt really how you feel when you have your first concert as a kid. That you are, you want to have fun, but uh, at least I was like this in my first concert. I lost completely the connection with the instrument, and I didn't play anything. Or maybe let's say the first time you had to say a poem when you were a young kid, that
Yeah.
you go on the stage and then you see all the parents and the crowd, and you're like,
No, not coming out
nothing.
today.
And then the teacher is telling you what to say, and then you repeat. So you didn't learn anything. You forgot everything in one instant.
Oh man.
So it was like this for me. I was numb. I didn't know what is going on. Everything was turning, and then I lost the fight. I was really disappointed, really angry to myself. I wanted to quit boxing. But then 1 month later, I was back, and I was, yeah, I would say stronger than ever.
Yeah.
So it was really a really good experience. Yeah.
And what did you learn the most? Like what is
It
was
it,
yeah.
it was more a matter of uh, how to stay calm under a big pressure, because this other guy came there to hit. He came there to win. So he was constantly putting me, under pressure. He was throwing big punches with
Yeah.
with full power,
Ah.
not holding back. And I didn't experience that before. It was for me the first time. I was shocked. I was like, oh, this guy is here. He's punching for real. He wants to hurt me.
Yeah.
So this was playing in my mind like a tape. He wants to hurt me. He wants to hurt me. He's for real. And although I didn't receive so many punches because I blocked them well, I lost my breath in the first 30 seconds because of feeling stress. So I was like,
Mm.
I couldn't breathe at all.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, I I mean, I never had a fight, but we do sparring on your training. So look
yeah,
at you now, man. You came from like starting boxing, not really wanting it, up to the point where you even like training other people. That's so
yeah,
cool. And yeah, man, the way you move and when you do stuff, it's just so cool, man. It's like power. Really, really, it's so nice to watch you do your moves and move around and punch, of course. But the most what I found during sparring, which is it's like a light version of
yeah,
having a fight, very controlled. I mean, usually we were happy, at least in my case, that the team was that we were training together was kind, and
yeah,
just that it was a lot in the way in the flavor of just improving, that everybody was trying to show each other,
exactly.
whatever, you're open here, watch out, blah
Yeah,
blah. So I felt really blessed about that, because I suspect, I mean, you told me even once that you got into a school where, sparring was actually power hitting, right? So
Yeah, I've been in a few schools like that, and I mean most of the boxing schools around the world, unfortunately or fortunately, are like that.
yeah,
And I guess if you want to be against world champions who, grew up without family members, and they're super tough mentally, you cannot beat these people in a boxing fight if you don't go through very hard sparring sessions. You
yeah,
cannot you cannot beat them. It's impossible. Their
exactly.
mental power is probably somewhere that you cannot even conceive. You cannot even imagine how strong mentally they can be.
Mm.
I mean, you can see Mike Tyson, or Mike Tyson is the person that people will know if we hear his name. Yeah, he grew up in the streets. He was all the time part of uh, robberies and even maybe killings. I don't know, but he grew up without parents in the streets. Actually,
Mm.
that's the case.
Yeah. And he's a complete beast still,
I
right?
mean,
Like
he yeah,
he can unlock it if he
he's an
wants.
animal. He's an animal. If you have in front of you, he's a killer. I mean,
Yeah. But still, even in these light sparring sessions, I learned so much, about
yeah,
confidence and like that being hit is okay. And I remember towards the last sessions that we had, I remember that like it was really fine if I would be hit, like I knew I can block. Maybe it was also because I was becoming a little bit bigger, a little bit
yeah,
stronger in the gym, and then I didn't really feel it when someone punched me. That could
yeah.
also be.
Also, your experience probably.
Probably also the experience, but I really felt like, oh wow, look, I can be punched, no problem. I
Yeah,
actually sometimes enjoyed it, and I laughed. It was fine, it was
yeah,
okay. And yeah, it connects also the stuff that you do in the gym. It really then it elevates your boxing training game like substantially, I would say.
yeah. That's
Especially,
that's what I like about boxing, or a sport that is the top of your pyramid as a goal. Like having only the gym in your routine doesn't somehow lead anywhere. It's just you repeating exercises and going against numbers, while learning how to box, or learning how to play football, or learning how to play basketball, or any sport can be the reason to go back because you want to
mm,
become better at that. It's in a way learning an instrument, learning the guitar, learning the clarinet or whatever.
mm,
You have to play the scales, you have to do small concerts, you have to play with other musicians, but the ultimate goal is you becoming better at your instrument.
mm.
The connection that you have with the instrument becomes all the time
Yeah,
better and better.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And funny thing is, maybe people don't know, but we had many times this discussion that actually in the boxing, even though you hit with your hands, actually the feet are maybe slightly even more important than the
Mhm.
than the hands, right? The power is
Yeah,
in the feet, even though like people see hands, right?
yeah. The power doesn't come from the hands, no, it comes from the core and the legs, and also the boxing stance is the footwork. I mean, is more important because it moves you in space. So yeah, being on the correct spot in space is more important than, I don't know, swinging your hands fast.
Yeah,
Because if I'm not there when you swing your hands, you will not hit me anyways.
yeah. And like if there was one thing that you would say, what sport brings, what is the most important thing that sport brings to your life?
This is a question to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so specifically, I would say now boxing, because this is the sport I have been doing. I'm not doing any other sports. I mean, I'm running as well, but yeah, I will talk about boxing. Um, First of all, it is a holiday for my mind, as I said before. It's a mental holiday, meaning that while you're training for 1 hour, there is absolutely no space for thinking other stuff. You cannot think of your concerts, you cannot think of your video editing sessions, you cannot think of even your family, nothing. It's just you, the the partner that you're training with, or the heavy bag, your breath, and your body trying to listen to your mind regarding movement and power. So it's a very animalistic, very primal sensation, and this by itself cleanses me, and it gives me space after the training for fresh thinking and being calm and feeling good about myself and feeling confident and knowing that I can do that as well. Because this is, I think, one of the challenges that scares people. They think that they cannot do it. Before trying something, they think that they cannot do this something. And um, yeah, the thing is that they can, but it requires you to disconnect from the normal reality and go to this
mm,
other place where actually things can happen. You
mm.
can do everything. It's just a mental game.
And what is your self-talk when, it's normal. We don't feel sometimes like we want to do something. So what do you say to yourself?
You wake up in the morning, you have to go for the training like you normally do, but you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Um, I don't say to myself anything anymore. I'm just going because by experience I know that if I go afterwards, I will feel better. And if I don't go, I will be kind of blaming myself for not doing it. So I try to ignore this voice and just go.
Mm.
I actually ignore it. I reply to this voice saying that you told me this before. Every time I listen to you, I regret it. So I will not listen to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of. Also, it's easier to keep something happening rather than leave it for once, because then you say, it's okay if I leave it also twice. Maybe I'm not gonna be hurt if I leave it also 3 times. And then you find yourself not doing it for like a few months, and then bouncing back into it is then it's really hard. Then it's really hard.
Mm. Yeah, I think for men especially. I mean, women, men, but I find the really getting sweaty and just out of breath an essential thing, like yoga and that kind of stuff. It's nice, it's stretchy, but I just have to lose my breath, and that I found for myself
Yeah.
that
I
gives me the most power actually.
yeah, I feel you. Also, there is a sense of improvement physically when you kind of push the limits, like with everything, I guess, in life.
Mm. Mm. And let's go to music now a little bit. When did you decide that you want to be a musician?
I don't think I ever decided that I want to be a musician. It just happened. It just I was always involved with music. I was singing as a kid. I was whistling as a kid. My parents brought me to try guitar lessons, and I studied the guitar. I did all the theoretical stuff and everything. I was in choirs. I played in small orchestras. I wouldn't say that I am a musician that is focused on one instrument. Like I wouldn't say that I am a guitarist anymore. I see myself more as, I don't want to say artist because it can be misunderstood easily, but I like doing creative stuff. I like uh, making new music for making new music, and I like filming a very nice, I don't know, sunset, because I like how the sunset looks and I want to have it, you know. I want to keep it. Or I like making a nice picture because I really appreciate this what I see. So with the music is the same. I through the years was in touch with music in different ways, and it was the one that kept me, because there was a moment in 2009. I had just graduated from the university in Greece. I studied forestry engineering for 5 years there. And in parallel, I was studying classical guitar. So I graduated with my classical guitar studies as well. And then there was a gap there because suddenly, after all these years of studying, I was not studying anymore. So I had to select what my professional, let's say, future will look like. And there were two options: either to continue as a forestry engineer guy or to dive deeper into music, I would say. And I selected the second one. I was
What did you
encouraged.
thought of? What? How did you imagine yourself doing forestry engineering, like cutting down trees, or what?
I didn't really, I didn't really imagine myself as a forestry
Okay.
engineer. Um, by the way, it's not about cutting trees only. It's many things, but I didn't really imagine myself doing that, especially not in Greece. That, yeah, it's a big topic. I wouldn't like to open it right now because it's going to take
Okay.
a lot of space. But no, so there was a family friend that studied in Rotterdam in Codarts a few years before this moment in time that I'm talking about, and she encouraged me to apply for this conservatory. Um, Now that I'm thinking about it after all those years, I think the reason why she encouraged me is because at this period of my life, I was by myself without any knowledge or anything. I was recording guitar lines, and I was recording guitar tracks and vocal tracks, and I was stacking them on top of each other, and I was making songs or tracks, but
Hmm.
without any knowledge or any experience on that, because I was strictly a classical music student, let's say. So I think she recognized the fact that I like that, and they proposed, she and my parents, they proposed to me to apply for the composition department, because I guess in their mind the composition department is more related to, creating something that is yours and
Hmm.
from zero, let's say. So yeah, that was the case. I applied twice and I failed twice. And the second time I failed, I decided to actually find a teacher in the Netherlands, a student of composition. So I studied for, I think, 1 year part time, coming and going, and then I applied again and I was accepted in Codarts. And this was the beginning of the second era of my musician's life, the more serious one, I would say.
Wow. Wow. I didn't know this story. This is the first time I hear
Yeah,
this.
and it was in Maastricht that
Wow.
I studied this part time year.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
It's so cool to have friends over on the podcast. I get to know even more about you.
Yeah.
And Who was the person that you would say, okay, this person really helped me the most, or was an inspiration that I continue the path that I am on?
As a musician or in
Yeah.
general?
Is it? Oh, do you have to? Please go. Yeah.
I just asked the question, but I
Yeah.
would
Do
say
both.
before the Netherlands, I would say, I mean, before and after the Netherlands, my parents,
Hmm.
they were always very solid next to me, and they helped me a lot, mentally and also financially, and they were always there to remind me that fast solutions give uh, short results,
Mm.
and consistent and more how do you call it, like consistent work brings consistent results. So don't rush into taking decisions that maybe you will regret later, just
Mhm.
spend more time on something that you really really love and really like, and this, like, the universe will return it to you back later on for
Mhm.
sure.
Bro.
Yeah, you get what you give in a way. So it was them that helped me. And I will also mention that during my studies, my teacher was a very good teacher, a very good mentor to me.
Mm.
He guided me in a way that he opened my he opened up some doors in my mind. He actually showed me how to trust what I want to achieve, and he showed me how to not be shy about what I believe in different levels. If you talk with someone and you disagree with this person, you should be saying it. It's
Mhm.
not it's not a shame to say that, you know what, I disagree with what you're saying, and
Mm.
then you can talk further about it. But before this, before I met with my teacher, I was not doing that. I was holding things in myself, and I was stressing about it. And then I would say, yeah, I should have said that, and I should have said this to this person, and I should have said that. And
Mm.
I was regretting the fact that I was not myself, and I was not open, and I was not transparent with how I communicate what I want and what I believe. And this is something that I learned with my teacher in Codarts, and I'm really grateful to him for that.
Mm. Mm. Paul, right?
Paul, yes, Paul
Yeah.
van Brugge.
Yeah. And what is at this moment the most important thing to you?
um, I have to say my son. I mean, yeah, it is my son, the most important thing, and my family, of course. Um, I mean, if there is a list of things that are the most important, I would say son and family, then my work,
Mm.
and next to my work equally is my health.
Mm.
So it's this triangle: the
Hmm.
the, the family, the health, and the work, that is the most important.
Yeah. And tell me, like, because I hear that from many people, at least the dudes that get a kid, like guys that get kids, that you get this extra, that you tap into some extra energy level, which you didn't know before that it's possible. Can you maybe, can you share your experience?
Yeah, you know me already before I had a kid. You know that I'm quite strict with being organized and scheduled. So to be very honest with you, I didn't feel that.
Hmm.
There is certainly a need for the family to be organized, and it is organized around the needs of the kid, not around the needs of ourselves anymore.
Mhm.
Because if the kid needs to eat, then you have to make the food. If the kid needs to sleep, then you have to make silence. So the priority is not yourself anymore, but your kid. And in this sense, your life has a structure that didn't have before. I can imagine that if you don't have any structure in your life and you suddenly have a kid, then it's a big change. It's a very
Mhm.
big difference, because if you want to sleep at 5 o'clock in the morning and wake up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is fine. I mean, not a problem with that. But it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work. So it's a big change for uh, kind of these kind of schedules. But for me and for us with my wife, I would say it was not such a big difference of a change. It was more a matter of replacing the times on different spots. So I think I'm clear, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
It was more of reshaping the already existing schedule rather than making a schedule out of zero.
understood.
So it was quite okay.
Yeah. Okay. No drastic hidden daddy power.
No, not very drastic. Of course, the first months are very hard because there is no sleep in the night.
Mm.
But now things are becoming quite regular, and yeah, it's actually very nice,
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Yeah, I've seen your boy last time and he's just so full of joy. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Um and would you be willing to share a recent challenge that you've overcame or that you're currently working on?
A recent challenge that I overcame.
Oh, do you even have
I've,
like
I think I have. I don't know if I overcame it already, but I will mention it is related to music. It is related to working as a musician. I will say in the Netherlands, because I don't know how it is in another country because I strictly work here. But I can imagine that this is more of a global phenomena rather than a local thing here. So for the past 6 months, I would say I have been quite disappointed. Um, I have been quite disappointed with how uh, the life of the musician slash artist is. And I'm trying to find ways around it. I'm trying to accept it, and I'm trying to just do what I have to do in order for me to be happy. Um, the problem is that people don't. I mean, I cannot only work alone as an artist, as a musician, right? I have to, yeah, for good or for bad, I have to always collaborate with at least a few people, except if I'm always producing, mixing, composing, video making, everything by myself, which is okay. I have done it, and I'm doing it. But there are times that you want to collaborate and you want to have some external input from friends or from other people that work in the industry, and you want to do something together. And I find it very hard because I have the feeling that people nowadays don't want uh, to work in depth. They just want to work just on the surface, tiny bit, make some money, move on. And this is against also the philosophy of training. Like it is the same. It's as if you go to the gym once and then you say, "Yeah, now I worked out." I will do something else now. Now I will play hockey. And then you go on the ice once and you play once, however. And then you say, yeah, okay, now I played hockey. Now I will go to learn baseball. And you swing the baseball once and you're like, okay, now I will go to do cycling. So I feel that people just want to they don't want to challenge their comfort zones. They just want to find easy solutions, fast solutions. And it's exactly the same into the art world. And I have a big problem personally with that. I want to be with people who want to stay on top of one musical idea for 5 hours and discuss why it works or why it doesn't work and how you can improve it and why you would improve it and what you want to achieve by improving it. And I want to go into depths, and there are no people for that. Or
Mm,
there are, but it's hard to find them, I guess.
mm. Well, and yeah, it's because I also sometimes struggle with a similar thing you were saying, but because you mentioned three couple of things, right? One is that the world is that it's already like this. To work on a certain idea, it's time consuming, therefore not profitable, right?
Yeah.
And and the other one is, yeah, that people are just maybe used to moving on fast, or like to be in their comfort zone. Yeah. And what are your tools when you think about that? Like, what do you say to yourself in this regard?
It is the same that I say to myself when I don't want when my voice says don't go work out. You have to just you have to do it. I mean,
Mm,
I learned the craft. I learned how to make music, and I learned how to make photos, and I learned how to make videos. And
mm,
I'm very grateful that I had the chance to be able to know all these things. So I have to find refugee into these places, and I have to just keep doing what I'm doing. And by the way, I wanted to put a parenthesis before that in this era of things moving fast, the AI technology that is dominating right now in all
mhm.
the fields is making this even harder.
Yeah.
It's okay if you want to use the AI technology for, I don't know, taking some inspiration from it, or correcting your English language in a paragraph, with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But when AI makes music, and when AI makes replaces your craft, then I think this is a problem. And maybe it doesn't look as a problem right now, but I believe that in a few years it will be a problem. And I also believe that in more than 10 years people will start looking back again. So it's more like a trend right now. And let's say hopefully, because I don't know. Let's say hopefully people will admire and want what they had a few years before now again. The same way we pay money for plugins that create vinyl crackings and old VHS effects on the video. We pay money for that. We had it a few years ago, for free.
It's automatic.
Yes, now we pay for it. We pay a lot of money for it. I think it's going to
Yeah.
be kind of the same in a
Yeah.
few years.
Someone is gonna buy a plugin. I want a composer that is also doing videography, photography,
Yeah,
trains boxing, and
yeah.
all the good stuff.
I want to be exposed into real life for 60 euros.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, that's a big one. The AI. Oh,
Yeah,
that's a massive, massive topic, massive growth, fast. exponential development, and I've
Yeah.
heard one guy saying on one podcast that I've checked out that in 2000, what is it, 45,
Mm.
a the AI will become so much more smarter in comparison as it is now, Einstein to a fly compared to
So
us. Like us,
the same difference that Einstein with the fly have,
yeah,
it
yeah,
will be, yeah, wow.
yeah, and in my eyes, it's that. I mean, you know how this idea of yin and yang works? Like it can, because like you can be very optimistic and say, wow, this can be godlike, like it
Yeah,
can have all the answers, like it's sentient being, like it's, but I think whenever there's great, it's also the equal down, like
yeah.
it just, you know, I think,
It's,
yeah,
it's also physics like that. With every force there is a counter force.
right.
It's always like that.
Yeah. So if we're gonna have a god, we're probably also gonna be developing the devil at the same time. Like
Yes.
same
So
powers.
exactly. I was watching this film yesterday for I think it was the third time or something. It's called Limitless. It's
Mm,
have you watched
great
it?
movie. That's a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, so it reminded me of this right now, what you said.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is using this drug to be extremely sharp, and he becomes another person with it. But when the
Mm-hmm.
drug is not there, he's actually worse than he was before because he's into a lot of trouble with what he has achieved as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Limitless. Great movie, people. Everybody listening also.
Yeah.
um so okay. What would be the most important lesson or a quote that you keep coming back to and that stays through your life? Can you please share something?
Yeah. So I think the most important for me is quote for me is to stay honest to yourself. So as I said before, you have to whatever you feel like you have to say, you should find a way to say it. You should be transparent about it. You should be honest to your gut feeling. That's it. Be honest to your gut feeling.
Mm, yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
And on the last note, where can people get to you? Like, where are you most active about your projects? Like, you do so many things. I think
Yeah.
it would be cool to.
I would say I mean I have a website which is up to date, but it is mostly a portfolio website. So it's for things that I have already published, and they will be there for people who want to listen or see. And then Instagram, I have recently divided my Instagram accounts into photography, videography, and music Instagrams because I found it more, I don't know, more appropriate. Um, yeah, that's it. These I think these are the most solid website plus Instagram.
Okay. I will also put it in the show notes,
Yeah,
all the links and
yeah,
stuff.
that would be nice.
Yeah. So, wow, dear Efthymios, hey, thank you so much for your stories, for your insights, for opening up on topics that we went through, and yeah, I really thank you from the depths of my heart that you joined me and us, and yeah, I wish you a wonderful day. Did you already do sports today?
Today I didn't do sports, but I will do it later tonight.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I really like your series, and you should keep it up. And I hope we talk again in the future here.
Yeah, see you soon, F.
See you soon.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, feel free to share your thoughts and ideas on the topics we've discussed today in the comments, as well as any burning questions you might have for my future guests. I'm your host, Mikhail Hrustil, and until next time, I wish you a sound mind.